the exercise that we've just been doing, okay? But if I'm laying on my back, okay, through here, if you try to sit up straight, you're going to struggle. It's just the way it is, okay? Through here, if I want to get up, best bet, pick a side. Which side do you want to get up to? So from here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cock my hip slightly to that side. I'm going to get up to this way, so my hip is going to go that way, okay? Turn slightly to my side. As I lean, drop my elbow to the floor, and then sit up, back into our combat base, okay? Then I'm going to collapse down and go flat. Cock my hip. Notice I'm not moving my feet. Just take my hip and pre-stage it. Drop my elbow to the ground and sit up. Turn my hip and sit up. Turn my hip and sit up. Look at my feet. My feet aren't even moving, but yet my hip is playing this baby shrimp. It's a little bit of the turning of the hip that pre-stages me to the direction I want to go. So when I'm here, turn that hip. You see how that knee is already starting to almost like lay at the ground? Elbow to the floor, and then just sit up. Lay back down, through here, turn that hip to the other side, and get up. Turn that hip, turn that hip. So that's the difference between turning and rolling. Okay, it's a big difference. Rolling covers distance. Turning is stationary. Turning stays where it's at. Rolling will travel from one side to another. Okay? So grab a section of the mat, and let's hit a couple of those little sit-ups, or the Kimura sit-up. We're going to go into from here. So guard is a position that, for the most part, the easiest definition of guard. It's I am on bottom while the other person is on top, but my legs are in between you and I. That's guard. Now, there's tons and tons and tons of different variations and the like, but that's the easiest breakdown. Guard is one person on bottom, back on the ground, the other person either standing or on their knees or the like, but the main thing is their feet are physically in the way. So if one person wanted to come in towards the other one, their feet are physically in the way and have to be dealt with first before other contact can be made. Okay? That's the simple definition of guard. Then there are only two types of guard: closed guard and open guard. If it's not closed, it's open. Okay? Closed guard, legs around the waist and ankles are crossed. If those legs are not crossed, it's not closed guard, it's open guard. And then there's subcategories of each one. There's different variations of closed guard, and there's lots of different variations of open guard. Okay? Way more, there's probably like 10 to 1. 10 different variations of open guard for every one variation of closed guard. Because there's lots of different, I mean, if I'm sitting here and I put my pinky toe on you, somebody's probably got a name for that. You know, but there's lots and lots and lots of variations. So what we're always going to start off with is the most basic, because it's the most controlling. That's closed guard. If I can physically wrap my legs around your waist and lock my ankles, then my opponent now is physically stuck until they can solve the riddle of my legs. Doesn't mean that their hands can't be weapons at the time period, but in that moment, they're at least stuck. If it's an open guard, then usually means my opponent can leave whenever they want. The only thing that's actually holding them there is their desire to kick my ass. That's it. Once it's in an open guard, usually at that point in time, you can back away pretty much whenever you like, because there's nothing actually holding you that's that significant. Okay?
Somebody, please.
Okay.
So I can video, please.
All right. Yes, ma'am. All right. So from here, I'm going to go on my back. From here, be active in your guard. I'm waiting for him to come in. I'm letting him go in between my legs, but he's going to do his job, and he's going to put his hands into the middle of my belly. And so now, by the time I go to put my legs around his waist, I probably won't be able to actually lock my legs around his waist. Because if he's doing his job, it's hard for me to do mine. Okay, so back away. So get used to it from here. The moment he goes to enter into my guard, I am launching my hips up to meet him, locking my legs above the waist. Okay, think about the hourglass figure. Shoulders, hips, waist. The waist is wider than the hips. So if I try to wrap him down here, my legs are going to struggle. Get above the belt. Get into the hips, and you're going to have a lot more space. Also, when you're here, okay, my feet are not crossing down here into the crack of his butt. My heels should be more like into the small of his back to put me into position. Okay, and then he's going to be posturing up. He's going to put his hands in my ribs, elbows inside my thighs, and he's going to sit as deep as he can through here. Okay, should be roughly a 45-degree angle between the shoulder and the hand. And then if I pull with my legs, stay low, stay low, stay low. Just push with your hands. I pull with my legs. That's a hard position, especially if he's got this nice 45-degree angle. Okay? So this is the position we're going to go into. One person's going to go on their back. Wrap your legs up. We're going to make this connection. Again, the palm of his hands are literally underneath my ribs. And as I pull, he just pushes those hands to keep that base. Okay? So let's grab partners. Stomach.
To keep your posture up from pulling off.
Yeah, they're there to keep my posture, but if you're not pulling, I'm not putting my hands there. If I step into your guard and you have done nothing to make me put my hands down, I'm not going to. Okay? Because the moment I touch your waist, my hands are grippable. And at that moment in time, I have a choice to make. Either I can hand fight you and potentially let myself collapse, okay, or I let you make the grip. But if you don't pull me down, there is no reason for my hands to have to go to your belly. And we get into this habit. We get kind of lazy. We know the way the rules of the game are supposed to work. So the moment I get into somebody's guard, I conveniently put my hands down to create my posture, even though they never made me. I just gave them a connection they never earned. Okay? So when you get in, okay, I'm letting my partner get their guard, but then I'm going to sit in more this position, and then when they start to pull, then I'll put my frames down. But up until that moment, and until I have to, don't commit yourself into that posture, if you can help it. Okay? Put me your guard. So again, I'm being a good partner. So in order for me to move in, never put your hands to the floor, but I'm going to step in. He's going to wrap me up. My elbows are already going to be on the inside of the thighs, and my hand's going to be up. Okay? And then as he starts to pull me, okay, if I don't have to put my hands down, I'm not going to. Because ultimately from here, the moment I do, he can start playing with my hands, grabbing my arms, and now I'm fighting a different kind of battle. Through here, I want to make it hard for him. So when he's pulling with me through here, if I don't have to collapse down just by having good solid base and the like, then I'm not going to. And that makes it now it's his ownership. If he wants to do something, he has to come up and get me. Okay? How long can you do a sit-up? Okay? This is our goals. His goal is, by holding me down, is to make me work just to be in this position. And my job is to make him work if he wants this position. And so if I don't allow myself to collapse, he has to pretty much do almost a sit-up the entire time if he wants to come get me. Okay? How long can he do that? Okay? That's an individual thing. For some people, it's not that long. Okay? And then the first thing to fatigue is back here. It's the ankles on my back. It's going to be the first part to go. As he's trying to sit up and make this connection and the like, I'm just going to be hand fighting, pushing him down, not letting him make that connection. And then pretty soon you'll feel it. those ankles will pop.
I'm already about to start going.
Okay? So get used to that as part of your habit is I'm going to be a good partner. He is going to wrap up guard on me, but I'm not just going to give him my frames unless he earns it. Because otherwise that's me wasting my energy too. Unless he's pulling me, there's no reason for me to dedicate my hands into his stomach. Because again, the moment he touches, okay, like right now, if he was up here, what weapons, if he's in guard, what weapons is he having to worry about? My hands can do whatever they like. The moment my hands touch into his belly as a weapon, they're useless now. And then the moment he starts to grip my wrists, or if we're wearing gis, grips my sleeves, now we're in this little tug of war. My weapons have actually lost a little bit of their functionality. If we were in a real fight and I'm sitting up here, I can throw punches, I can do what I like until my hands have to become dedicated. Okay? So it's the dedication of the hands that becomes the major part of your guard. Once you make it, pull, bring them in, make them have to put their hands down. And then that puts you into a position where you can start to control and manipulate and things of that nature. Okay? So now that's going to take us into sweeps. So a sweep is any time you go from bottom to top while using any version of guard. Okay? And remember, guard is when my legs are between you and I and are controlling the opponent. Okay? So anytime I can go from the bottom position to the top position and I'm using a version of guard, that's a sweep. Anytime I go from bottom to top without a guard being used, that's like your upas from mount, I've got a couple escapes from side control, things of that nature, those are just called reversals. Okay? One is being done in a defensive manner, one's being done in an offensive manner. Sweeps are offensive, reversals are defensive. So if you go into competition, how much is a sweep worth? It's 2 points. How much is a reversal worth? 0. Okay? Defensive actions don't score points. Offensive actions score points. So in that instance, because I've got him in my closed guard, anything I do now that puts it in motion, that takes me from bottom to top, okay? Sweeps are a motion. Okay? Guard passing is a motion, and then it has to be secured with a position on the other side. So in a tournament setting, if I sweep you, I need a position on the other side to secure it. Okay? That can be any position, but not all positions score. So I sweep you, but you wrap me up in guard. That's still 2 points. Okay? I established a position. We're set now. We're not still fighting. We're not still moving. But if I sweep you and I land in mount, mount as a position by itself is worth points. So the sweep is the motion, and mount is what I use to secure it. So that would be a 6-point motion in a tournament. 2 points for the sweep, and 4 points because the position is worth points by itself. Okay? But if I sweep you to a position like side control is worth no points. It's just a position. But it's a position that is used to secure people. Okay? And so in that case, that would just be a 2-point move. If I did a guard pass to side control, again, side control is not a position that scores points, but it's used to secure the pass or to secure the sweep. So I would get the pass points or the sweep points, but nothing extra. Mount is a position unto itself. So it doesn't matter how you get to mount, mount by itself is worth 4 points. Okay? And what they do is they put point systems into the game, okay? Not because mount's an incredible position or the like, which it is, but for real life self-defense, people say all the time in jiu-jitsu, I don't fear mount that much. No, because I can only submit you right now. But once I throw punches, you will fear it. Once I get up on top of you in the parking lot, and we're in that same position now, and now I'm not just going for an arm bar, I'm actually throwing punches for that top position, you will respect that position a lot more from a self-defense standpoint, not just a grappling standpoint. And so the point system is based on self-defense and not just grappling encounters. They look at it from its totality. Okay? So now, I'll put my guard. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to go into a very easy sweep. It's kind of one of the first of the classics. So first thing I need to do is I need to get him to dedicate his hands. So I'm going to start pulling in. So frame up, posture, posture, posture. Okay? So from here, one of the things I'm always looking to do is, because if I can pull him in and then make a connection, okay, that's what he doesn't want. That's why his hands create that frame. So now I'm going to pull him in. I'm going to make him dedicate, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up.
Posture.
Drop your butt. There you go. Pull, push, push, push. Okay? Don't let me grab. Okay? So now the hands become my target. So now I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to give him a quick little pop of my hips. Okay? Just to lift his hands. And as his hands, when I come back down, there's a brief moment in time where his hands are not connected to me. So when I'm here and I give him that quick little pop, the hands can separate. And then from here, this is how I typically do it in live matches. It may look like I'm like this. The reality is I'm barely even gripping, because my grip is not really what's relevant right now. Okay, from here I'm just holding on, and now if I pull, see how his hands now aren't going to hold him up. So he's going to start trying to put those hands to the ground, which becomes the control. Okay, from here, there's that little hip twist that we start off with. So now I'm going to go for this arm, twist my hip, put my foot down. So now when I let go, I shoot up and I hook over his shoulder. Don't grab by the elbow. If I aim high and I slip, I'll end up in the middle of the arm. If you start at the middle of the arm and you slip, you'll end up at the elbow. If you start at the elbow and you slip, so aim high to go from here. Now notice, I haven't even locked up my hands yet. Okay, so the first piece through here is going to be his first real threat. I've just locked up his arm and I'm holding on. So when I now lay back, I'm pushing his hand forward, and then I'm going to lock up my own wrist. Notice this one is thumb over the top, and this one is still my C-clamp through here. Now, remember how we were taking our hips and making that little switch? Okay, so right now, my belly button's looking that direction. So now that I've laid him down, this leg on top of his back becomes my connection to turn my hips the other way. So now I'm going to pull my elbow to the floor. And while I pull my elbow to the floor, I'm going to take his hand, like I'm going to make it touch the back of his head. And then when he taps is when we let go. So I lay down like I'm putting my elbow to the floor, and then I turn like I'm putting the hand on the back of his head. If you make that turn, but his shoulder's going up in the air, you're going to lose all your power. It's about pulling your elbow down while you make the wrist go over the head. So one more time. I'm going to go in frame. So pull, 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 make him become dedicated. Look, I can touch his hands all I want. He either has to move them, okay, or he has to give up his frame. So I'm going to go here, quick pop, to make him go down. Grab those wrists. Through here, turn my hip, foot on the ground, sit up, hook the shoulder. As I lay back, all I'm doing is pulling his shoulder, and then I'm going to push his hand. Lock up my own wrist. Hip switch. Put my elbow to the ground, and then take his wrist like you're going to touch the back of his head. Go slow, it will lock pretty fast, okay? But that's the threat that opens up the first sweep. All right, let's give that a shot. 1, 2, 3. Is the number one defense in the game. Okay, posture is being in the right place. Okay, posture changes depending on what position you're in, but posture is always the number one defense. Okay? In the hierarchy of the game, and in just combat period, distance management is always number one. Okay? If you can't control the distance, you're already losing. And if you can control the distance, you're untouchable. Okay? If I can always stay out of the range of whatever the threat is, you simply cannot hurt what you cannot touch. It's just the name of the game. If it's a knife, if it's a gun, if it's a bomb, it doesn't matter. Whatever the distance is, let's say the bomb is a mile, I just need to be outside of that mile. That's the rules, okay? So posture is always looking at what is the effective range of whatever the weapon is, and then putting your frames, or in this case, lifting our shoulder to be able to stop the piece. So when I go for my Kimura, okay, so I've got him here, I'm breaking him down, I'm holding, I make my hip switch, and I go here. So he knows right now, if I pull his shoulder to the ground, he loses. Okay? So right from here, if I pull his shoulder down, he's losing the game. So if he doesn't want to get his shoulder pulled down, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to sit up. He's going to try to get that shoulder up higher in the air. So if I'm here and he doesn't want me to pull him down, he's going to pull back. Okay? Now again, think about what direction am I trying to take him to the floor? I'm trying to take him over there. So guess what happens if he leans that way? He loses. Because that's the direction I'm trying to take him anyway. So at that moment in time, if I go here and he starts to lean to that side, he gives me everything that I wanted. Okay, and again, so in most cases, posture is doing the exact opposite of what people want. So if I've got him here and he knows that's the direction I'm going to go, then he's typically going to sit up and he's going to start to pull in the opposite way, which means he's going to start going more towards his left to try to free up his arm. So this is now when I launch my hips to take him that direction, okay? And I still hold and maintain the grip on his arm, because now it's pretty easy for me to just simply reach back, grab his wrist. Now, Kimura from mount is garbage. So never try to finish it from here. You're going to waste your time and probably end up back in guard. So if you're going to finish it from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my hips so that I can back step into side control, where Kimura is a much bigger threat. Like I said, Kimura from mount is a garbage technique. Okay, you'll try it, you'll get rolled over, okay, and you'll just finish it from guard. So if that was the case, fight to finish it from guard a little bit more, okay, or change your position on top once you get there. Okay, so this is a timing. So as I break him down, I make my turn. All I'm doing is holding the shoulder. My hands do not have to connect. When I feel him sitting up and starting to go away from the Kimura, that's when from here, my hand, I personally myself, I let go and I put my hand like I'm going to do a one-handed push-up and throw my hips into it. And you see I'm still holding his arm, so now I just slide back, push his wrist to the ground, and again from here, drop my hips, back step, then I go into side control to actually get my finish. All right, let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3.